one candle for the joy in our heart. I'm gonna light one candle for tomorrow's brand new start. I'm gonna light this candle for those who know of darkened days, that they may trust the light is on its way. Gonna light this little light. Yeah, gonna light this little light. Gonna light this candle for those who feel alone. I'm gonna light this candle so they may find their way home. I'm gonna light this candle for those whose hearts are broken, so that they may know, God heard the prayer they spoke, and gonna light this little light. Yeah, gonna light this little light.
Time together this morning. Let's take a moment to stop, breathe, and remember together. One power of creation, I am made of that. We are made of that. In this wonderful, crazy busy time of year, so much commotion in me and around me tempts me to distraction. In this moment, I return to center ground. Both human and divine, we are to be. I am to be the gifts of this season. Peace, joy, love, and compassion. This is the season of love and caring. Even the Grinch knew this in the end. So when things push on me, take me to different spaces, I have an intention, I have a plan to stop, breathe, and remember. In the midst, wherever I am, whatever is happening, one power of creation, I am that. The source of peace, joy, love, and compassion is at hand. This is the season of love and caring. These gifts come through me. So today, for and with others, or simply for myself, I create peace. I create joy, even a simple pleasure. As an agent of love and caring, I act from my irrepressible need to offer my gifts to the world. This morning, I give thanks for the wisdom, for the power, and the will to choose and to be a light in the darkest days. And so it is.
Gonna light one candle for turning our lives upside down. Gonna light this candle for finding stillness as the world turns round. I'm gonna light this candle for the children who are great believers. They may know, they are our greatest teachers. Gonna light this little light. Yeah, gonna light this little light. I'm gonna light this candle for me. I'm gonna light this candle, 'cause this is right where I'm supposed to be. Gonna light this candle so that we may walk our own true path. Ain't no use in looking back. Gonna light this little light. Yeah, 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 gonna light this little light.
if every day were Christmas, how different life would be. If not one day, but all the year were ruled by charity. Had we the faith in miracles as a child, as Christmas morn, each day would be love's manger, and Christ would be reborn in us again to change and heal our outworn wars and ways. Had we a child's or shepherd's gift for wonderment and praise, yet every day is Christmas when we have learned to live, not so much in how to get, but how to truly give. And like a child can wonder, and like a child can pray, but have the grown-up wisdom to give ourselves away.
I am a child of the living God, made in the image of perfect love. All that I am, all I've been given to you, my God, I surrender. I surrender.
Good morning. Is this on? Hello? Okay. Good morning. Hi. Today is reindeer games, so I'm really hoping that all of you will come join us after this service in Friendship Hall. The teens will be busy during the service putting together a really fun time for everyone. So there's games for all of you, and we're going to do some crafts, and there's stuff for little kids and big kids alike, huh? Yeah. I think that's all of my announcements. We're just super excited to get started. So please help me in blessing the kids. Thank you for being our family. Thank you for being our friends. Thank you for blessing and teaching us. God bless you. Amen.
So good morning and welcome to everyone, all of us big kids. Isn't it fun that we come to a place where we get to be big kids when it's Christmas time? Because it's fun to be a big kid. I hope all of you are finding enough to do during this season. It does make us chuckle. But if you are managing to slow your pace, look around us. Look at nature. We're part of nature. I think perhaps we're intended to do a little bit of that too, don't you? So that always gives me pause to think about the contrast and think about what I might do about that. I'm so happy to welcome each one of you here today. At Unity, we do welcome all people. We welcome people of all colors, all identity groups, any religious backgrounds and life experiences. We welcome you if you meet people easily or if you're maybe a little bit shy. We don't remember that often enough. We're kind of a huggy bunch, and we greet each other, and you'll notice that. But if you'd prefer a handshake, give us that signal and we'll accommodate you. We're just very glad to have you here. We value and benefit from our diversity and our differing gifts as we also cherish and celebrate our common humanity. Unity doesn't offer much in the way of dogma or doctrine. We are often invited, Dr. Richard has invited us following service to think about what was said, maybe challenge it if we need to, discuss it, disagree, clarify, maybe affirm. So I hope you'll be able to stick around after service, especially today. This is going to be a good day to stay around after service, enjoying refreshments, and then some of that kind of quality conversation if you can. This morning I invite you to consider also to be a member of our Givers Circle program. This is our program for standardized giving. It's very flexible. You can pay by cash, check, credit card, or EFT. Givers Circle is a safe, easy, convenient, and flexible way to give, and it also provides very useful information to our Board of Trustees so they can do their best planning. If you find consistent value in our service, please consider making this conscious commitment to consistent giving. And those who are members of the Givers Circle can grab cards on the way in that say Givers Circle, so we have something tangible to put in the offering basket. There are also little beads available for that purpose out in the foyer. There are applications to the left of the doors there as you leave if you would like to sign up for Givers Circle. We make a point of highlighting the importance of prayer each week as we share about Unity's philosophy. Unity offers tools that can turn beliefs into action. In fact, this whole movement was grounded in a practical spirituality, which means things we can do. Prayer is one of the tools for turning beliefs, our intentions, into action. Yesterday I had a rather amazing lesson in prayer, and because I haven't fully processed it, I'm not quite ready to walk around it, and I'm going to share a bit of it with you. I always set aside some time on Saturdays if I'm having a platform assistance Sunday, so I can really give good thought and write my stuff, get my thoughts together. And I had sat down at my computer in the early afternoon yesterday where I do my thinking and writing, and I was working on my opening prayer, and then my phone rang. On the other end of the line was a former work colleague. Actually, she was the office administrator in the school where I worked for 26 years, in elementary school. And she shared with me that a former student of ours had been hit by a car crossing the road on Thursday afternoon, and she was at Harborview on life support. And an invitation had gone out from her family to friends and other extended family to come and to say goodbye to her between 2 and 6 yesterday. Her brainstem had been severed, and she would not live once life support was removed. Her name was Emily, and she turned 29 on Friday. Emily was no ordinary student. Emily was special. Emily was very special. Emily was born with a very unusual, rare syndrome, and it caused many physical and mental differences, one of which was dwarfism, another very significant facial deformity. I met her 24 years ago when she came as a kindergartner to our building. In present time, Emily worked at the QFC a mile from my house, and I would see her frequently when I go there often. And we would hug and reminisce a little bit, and she kept me abreast of the things that were going on in her large family. She lived in a family of people I seriously have dubbed saints. I haven't done that elsewhere. I know no other family like this. Her adoptive parents had fostered dozens of handicapped children, several of whom they adopted as their own, as they did Emily, while raising 3 of their own biological children. So I said to my friend who had called me after we chatted for a while, I would love to say goodbye to Emily, but I have something really important to do in the morning, and so I have to stay home and I have to get prepared, and I'm thinking, and I have to go to the store, and I have to cook dinner, and I have a plan, and so I hung up, and I went back to my writing, and I wrote my prayer, and then I started in on the welcome. And then a voice went off inside of me. It was actually kind of a sarcastic sounding voice and authoritative. And it said, "So, are you going to sit here and write prayers, or are you going to be one?" And I had to go. I called a friend who also was a part of that school family community for so many years. She lived close. The first one lives in Arlington. And I said, "You want to go?" So I picked her up and we headed down I-5. When we got there, we weren't prepared for what we experienced. When we found our way to the ICU, the nurses said, "Yes, you can come, but you'll have to wait in the waiting room because there are so many people here that want to say goodbye to Emily that we will have to bring people in groups." The nurses they told us they'd never seen anything like it. We had to wait for quite a while. In spite of all of Emily's differences, she made friends, dear friends, everywhere she went. And yesterday was such an amazing demonstration and reminder of that. This child had a resilience of spirit, which I'm pretty sure was born in her, but she lived in a family where she knew nothing but love and acceptance. And I know for many years she attended school in a place where she knew love and acceptance. She had a wonderful life. She had a wonderful life. And I needed to get there because I wanted to thank her for having been an inspiration to me and to so many. And I wanted to thank both of her parents for what they had done to a child that many folks could not have been up for the challenge in doing. But they embraced it wholeheartedly. It is their mission in life, deeply grounded, spiritually grounded people, though they never talk about their beliefs, they simply live them. So being in the presence of those saints and angels yesterday will probably be one of my greatest gifts of this season, and maybe my life. There is so much more to this story. It will continue to unfold. There will be a magnificent celebration of this life. I have no question about that. For everyone who knew her, it was truly an honor. I think the lesson that's worth sharing here, I want some relevancy, is that when I say right things, affirmatively prayerful things to myself with serious intention, I think it can be enough. I think it will get through. The lesson to me was, don't give up on prayers. In those moments where you think maybe nothing is happening or maybe you're not receiving it as you know you would like, don't give up. Don't give up. If I say these things continuously every day, it just may be enough. I want to honor our prayer chaplains in this moment because they support us in our prayer work. And if you're here today to support us as a prayer chaplain, could you just stand quickly so we can honor you for a moment? Sometimes it's hard to find words. These people support us in many ways, always. At the end of service, you'll find one of them up here at the front of our sanctuary. So if you would like individual prayer with them, don't hesitate. They are honored. But throughout the week, we have other ways of access. And today, if you have a prayer you'd prefer to write, just put it on a prayer slip in the back of the chair in front of you and slip it into the offering basket. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we have available to us the confidential prayer line and the online prayer support. And that phone number and prayer link is in the bulletin, the calendar. We now have a Unity and Lynnwood app, and that's another quick access to leaving our prayer for our chaplains. Those prayers are prayed over during the week, and thank you so much for your service. We also use affirmations in Unity, those statements of highest intention, and we use denials because we know that sometimes our fears or our perceived limitations can get in our way and knock us off track. They can become barriers to our living all in, as Reverend Nina recommended a couple of weeks ago. Those words stuck in my head. We share an affirmation and denial weekly in order to prepare for whatever might be coming. So today I will start by sharing our affirmation out loud for you, as you can see it on the screen behind me, and then I'll invite you to stand if you're able, and we'll share it together. The Christmas narrative isn't limited to place and time, for even now, inspiration arrives in the quiet of night, and even now, the angels celebrate. Please stand. Ready. The Christmas narrative isn't limited to place and time, for even now, inspiration arrives in the quiet of night, and even now, the angels celebrate. Let's take a minute to greet each other while we're on our feet.
So this is Christmas, and what have you done? Another year over, a new one just begun. And so this is Christmas, I hope you have fun. The near and the dear ones, the old and the young. A very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one without any fear. So this is Christmas, for weak and for strong, the rich and the poor one. The road is so long, and so happy Christmas for black and for white, the yellow and red one. Let's stop all the fight, and a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one without any fear. And so this is Christmas, and what have you done? Another year over, a new one just begun. And so this is Christmas, I hope you have fun. The near and the dear ones, the old and the young. A very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one without any fear. A very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one without any fear.
Steve Mason. Steve Mason. Oh. Linda Baben, what a gift. Thank you, sister, for sharing this walk with us. Your ministry matters. Unity and Lynnwood, good morning, and good morning, and good morning. Now, in her opening comments, Linda reminded you, she said, I encourage you to challenge what is spoken here. And what she meant to say, really, amongst yourselves, really, I think is the... You challenged that interpretation. Well played. Thank you. Oh, very much. I cherish you. I appreciate you very much. I'm honored to be in your noble and holy presence. I thank you this morning. I thank you. You know, there is a false association, and it goes something like this. If I feel welcome, then the community is welcoming. I would press against that, Danielle. The false association, I would challenge that interpretation. The association, if I feel welcome, the community is welcoming. No. What that can mean, be with me for a moment here. If I feel welcome, that can very easily mean I have found my clique. And so when I say I thank you, it's because I always feel the warm welcome of your intentionality as a community. You know, I can speak words of welcome, but I can't create welcome of myself. And so for your willingness to courageously press beyond the comforts of our circles, I hold you up. So thank you. Christmas choir. If you like to sing, I'd like to congratulate you. You have passed the entrance requirements to join the Christmas choir. Rehearsals will begin at 12:30 today. You are welcome to try one and see if it's a fit for you. We are in preparation for the 2 Christmas Eve services. There are 3 rehearsals in total. You may get that information from a card that's found at the Welcome and Information Station. Christmas Eve services are at 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock p.m. We've scheduled them for December 24th this year. Thank you for laughing 2 weeks in a row. I have no new material for you today. Childcare is available at 6 o'clock by advance reservation, so know that that is extended. I have to tell you, I know what it's like to be 5 years old. On Christmas Eve, I'm 53, but I remember it. And it is awakened in me because I've been waiting for a few weeks. Yes. I've been waiting for a few weeks. I have been anticipating my Christmas morning, and it arrived yesterday from the Canadian border, eastern Washington. And I know you've seen memes of animals smiling, but our Hugo arrived, and this was the first impression. He's smiling. He is an Australian Shepherd Great Pyrenees mix. And they are noted for being particularly bright. I would not challenge this conclusion. The dog walked over to a box and began removing dog toys. The only indicator that that was his box was the word toys written on the side of it. At which point I thought, yeah, you a smart one. And so I told the 9 o'clock service, my editor is down today. You know, there is light and shadow in circumstance. And the reality of having a new child in the house has prevented me from ample sleep. And so when I say my editor is down, it's really quite a gift, because the editor basically says on mornings like this, you know what, I give up. I give up. Whatever comes out of your mouth is fine. Just go with it. So Hugo at 10 o'clock p.m. interpreted my horizontal position as an invitation to show me all the toys he had discovered in that box. Thank you for indulging me. Regular updates, yeah. You've heard the story before. It reads as follows. Joseph went up from the town of Nazareth to Bethlehem. He went there to register with Mary. She was pledged to wed him. She was expecting a child. While they were there, she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths. She placed him in a manger. There was no room. Such good students. And there were shepherds living in the fields nearby. They were keeping watch over their flocks at night. An angel appeared, and the glory of the Lord shone around them. They were terrified, but the angel said, "Don't be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all people. Today in the town of David, a Savior has been born. This will be a sign to you. You will find a baby wrapped in cloths, lying in a manger." Suddenly a great company of the heavenly host appeared with the angel. Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace to those on whom God's favor rests. And when the angels had left, the shepherds said to one another, "Let's go to Bethlehem. Let's see this thing that has happened." So they hurried off. They found Mary and Joseph and the baby, who was lying in a manger. And when they had seen him, they spread the word concerning what had been told them about the child. And all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds said. I have to tell you, I love these stories. I love these stories because I find them to be profoundly true. Now, to say that I find them to be profoundly true is not the same thing as to say I find them to be profoundly factual. So yet again, in 2018, let me say that it's a relatively modern mind that would even associate a story's truth with a story's factuality. Certainly those who told and eventually captured the nativity narratives did not see themselves as recapping events which could be discovered in fossil records or verified by meteorological reporting. There was no journalistic standard being applied to these tales. No one was fact-checking anyone. For those who told and eventually captured the nativity narratives, it was well understood that 40 meant something beyond 40. That regaining sight meant something beyond regaining sight. That even a haircut meant something beyond a haircut. In fact, I think it's safe to say in a general way that the line that separates these two ways of perceiving, if you will, is what we call the Enlightenment. The pre-Enlightenment orientation was fascinated with what I'm calling the truth of a story. But it's the post-Enlightenment orientation that's fascinated with what I'm calling the factuality of a story. And the issue is that to explore a pre-Enlightenment story with a post-Enlightenment orientation is to subject ourselves to endless, circular conversations, such as, was there really a good Samaritan who rescued a man? And was there really a wayward son who returned to his father? And was there really a whale and a giant and an ark and a leper and 7 horses? Can women really turn into salt? I mean, why would you even want to think about what life would be like at the age of 969 anyway? I mean, you think you need work now. Einstein is attributed as having said, and I paraphrase, everyone is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Now, whether Einstein actually said this is a matter of some debate, but it doesn't really matter, for the point is this: to continue asking, was there really a good Samaritan who rescued a man? And was there really a wayward son who returned to his father? And was there really a whale and a giant and an ark and a leper and 7 horses? Can women really turn into salt? Is to stand at the foot of that tree, heaving a flopping flounder into its lower limbs again and again, hoping that the fish will catch on. Stupid fish. You see, while a post-Enlightenment orientation asks these questions and stirs great drama in the human mind and in the human relationship, a pre-Enlightenment orientation listens to those questions and says, oh, honey, it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter because the pre-Enlightenment orientation understands that the truth of a story has absolutely nothing to do with the factuality of a story. And this remains a deep passion for me. Because in a post-Enlightenment world, with a post-Enlightenment orientation, the willingness to orient ourselves toward that mindset, that lens, that pre-Enlightenment orientation from which these stories rose is the first key to unlocking the wisdom of biblical literature for a new generation of seekers. It's the first key. You doing okay? I might go so far as to say that to insist upon exploring biblical literature without this reorientation is to twist that literature, sometimes unrecognizably from its original intention, and almost never without suffering. Without this reorientation, interpreters continue to justify, if not encourage, profound cruelties in our world. So you see, these stories, they're personal. They're not limited to time and space as the modern mind would seek to do. They are universal stories which may, from time to time, be beautifully and powerfully particularized by individuals such as last week's Magi, such as this week's shepherds, such as next week's Mary. So while many celebrate the particularization that occurred a couple thousand years ago, and I won't take that away from you, by the way, I would offer this season as a celebration of the universal that calls for particularization through each of us today. The universal story of inspiration and courage and obedience that called to your ancestors. It's a story of possibility and tenacity and great light that will continue to call to your descendants. So there is the story. The story was picked up, if you will, and told some 2,000 years ago, but it longs for new souls to pick it up and to retell it today. I like to think that this is what it means to return holy writings to their deserving post as the living Word. So these shepherds, they're peasants. They're simple, hardworking, honest people. They lack layers of modern sophistication and education. Theirs is a world out of doors, exposed, vulnerable, unprotected by human mechanism. I have to tell you yet again, I absolutely love that. Like our Magi of last Sunday, the higher idea. And for our time together, let's just agree that the Christmas story is, among other things, a story about a higher idea. Like our Magi of last Sunday, the higher idea doesn't always come in accord with societal standards. How notable is it that this story didn't begin with high priests or with religious scholars? In modern terms, the story didn't begin with those who have graduated from Ivy League schools, those who have climbed a social ladder. The story began with peasants, simple, hardworking, honest people lacking layers of modern sophistication and education. You know, if you're like me, there's a line of thought, and it goes something like this. There are great souls. Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, Mohandas Gandhi. There are great souls. And because these souls are great, they are given great ideas and noble purposes. That's the way the thinking goes. I think it's completely backwards. I think it's more like this. You see, I think great ideas and noble purposes are available to all souls indiscriminately. Great ideas and noble purposes simply are. We might say they're up for grabs. And it's the degree to which a soul welcomes great ideas and noble purposes that soul eventually earns the earthly mark of great. I mean, if MLK hadn't offered welcome to the great idea of racial equality, he never would have become MLK. If Mother Teresa had not offered welcome to the noble purpose of human compassion, she never would have become Saint Teresa, and so forth. So our story today begins with peasants. If they had a theme song, it would be Just As I Am. These peasants dedicated the fullness of themselves, complete with dirt under their fingernails, to the calling. You see, it's not so much that great works come through perfect souls, as it is that great works come through willing souls. In a sense, I think we're all shepherds. And the story continues. These shepherds keep watch by night. It's in the darkness that the heavenly light dawns. It's in this silence that the angel's song is heard. Now, is it just me, or have we become incredibly busy? Anybody? Anybody? It seems that we're no longer satisfied even to drive our automobiles without attempting to accomplish any number of peripheral tasks at the same time. I hope this isn't you. I'm so distracted by distracted drivers, I've become a distracted driver. So busy pointing at people with telephones that I'll stop. We've become enamored with, even addicted to, the countless shiny objects of earthly life, with the money, with the titles, with the status, the accomplishments, as if dangling from some cosmic mobile above our collective crib. And yet it seems to me that the shepherds call us to remember that it's not through our busyness, it's not through our money, through our titles, through our status, it's not through our accomplishments that the heavenly light dawns. It's as we keep watch by night that the angel's song comes. It's in silence that the angel's song comes. The shepherds remind us that we can't buy it. It was Kierkegaard who said, and I quote, if I could prescribe only one remedy for all the ills of the modern world, I would prescribe silence. He continues, even if the word of God were proclaimed, no one would hear it. There's too much noise. And the shepherds are afraid, even when the angel said, "Fear not," the event is no less momentous. And I say to you, well, who wouldn't be? I mean, the great idea is no respecter of your comfort. It's no respecter of your statistics, your excuses. It's no respecter of your history, your age, your genetics. The noble purpose is no respecter of your countless arguments. And so the shepherd's response came, and I quote, "Well, I'll go, but you'll have to give me time to lose some weight." It's a loose quote. And another chimed in, I think I'll listen a little longer for an idea that keeps me closer to home. Anybody relate to that one? Let me get the right presents together. One never wants to arrive at the birth of a Messiah empty-handed. So even afraid, of course, the shepherd's response to that heavenly light, to that angel song, to the great idea, to the noble purpose, it was immediate, and it was practical. It was simply, let's go. Let's go. Isn't that beautiful? Even afraid, the response was one of welcome. It's one of willingness, one of availability. I'm reminded of a 65-year-old man. You might know him. He was living on Social Security at $105 a month. But he had a dream for life, so he drove around the country, sleeping in his car. He was knocking on doors. He received 1,009 no thank yous before his first yes. And it was on that day that a man in a white suit selling a fried chicken recipe gave rise to an unlikely empire. And it was Henry Ford who echoed the same idea, and I quote, "I believe God is managing affairs, and with God in charge, everything will work out for the best in the end." End quote. You see, in a sense, I think we're all shepherds, called to keep watch by night, to cultivate quiet moments of openness, willingness to the incredible resources which are always at hand. Each of us is called to cultivate quiet moments of vulnerability, moments of nakedness, if you will, moments of welcome for an experience that's certain to be described as wonder and awe. So I think we're all shepherds. And what the simple shepherds of this morning's tale do. It's the highest and holiest thing I think any saint or mystic ever does. They ran to Bethlehem. They fell on their knees. In other words, they stepped into the purpose for which they had been called. They said, "Let's go." Let's take a deep breath together and let's close those outer eyes. And let's avail ourselves to this story in a new way. Let's use that faculty of imagination to be under that infinite blanket of night. Using that faculty of imagination, let's place ourselves in the holy hush under that starry sky. We arrived with a sense of weariness. Let's become willing to set it aside. If we arrived with a preconceived notion of limitation, let's become willing to set it aside. If we arrived with a low estimation of the potentiality of the very universe in which we live, let's become willing to set that aside. Our probabilities, our statistics, those expert opinions. Let's become willing to set them aside. is a mind that seeks to think its highest thoughts through you. And so using that faculty of imagination, we behold that expansive starry sky, and in that moment of willingness, we say, I am here. In this moment of availability, we say, I am now.
Here now, here now, here now, here now. Let my words be your words and yours be mine. Celebrate our union in this special time. Oh, here now. Savoring the feeling as we breathe into this space. In this perfect moment, in this perfect place. Here now, here now, world of grace, celebrate, blessed vow. Here now, let's enjoy the miracle that brought us here somehow, dissolving any obstacle from being present here and now. Oh, here brush away the things that stand between ourselves and love, connecting with the oneness within and up above. Oh, here now, here now. Well, it's a world of grace. Let's celebrate, blessed vow. Hey, now, step into the selflessness our hearts will allow, taking in the timelessness with just this simple vow. Love shines in your eyes and in the smile upon your face. Walking here in beauty in our day-to-day with grace. Here now. Here now.
Thank you, Steve, for being with us. You bless us with your music and your presence. Thank you, Dr. Richard. You gave us lots to chew on so we can discuss and disagree and agree and affirm, but we'll do it amongst ourselves because you will be busy playing with Hugo. All right. Now is the time in our morning when we set aside a little time to provide us all an opportunity to give back to this community that nourishes us up. I don't know where that came from. I want to share a quote that really stood out for me this week. When I read it, I just kept going back to it. It's by Denzel Washington, actor, director, producer. He said, "At the end of the day, it's not about what you have or even what you've accomplished. It's about who you've lifted up, who you've made better. It's about what you've given back." So thank you for all gifts given here, financial as well as gifts of service. We're grateful.
Thank you for your love and more, gifts untold, and shelter from the cold. When I'm feeling sad or lonely, you let me know I'm not the only one who's ever been here. Thank you for your gifts and more. That's what I thank you for. Through all my noise, you've given me the choice. Though I complain sometimes about the cold rain, you pick me up so I can listen for a while to just the things that I've been missing in my life. Thank you for your gifts and more. That's what I thank you for. Oh, thank you for. Thank you for. Thank you for your gifts and more. That's what I thank you for.
So let's thank and bless these offerings with an offering inspiration that we can share. You'll find it on the screen behind me. God is my source. God is our source. And that source supports the evolving, unfolding, soul-stirring idea that is unity in Lynnwood in miraculous ways. And so it is. Thank you, ushers, for your service. So in this moment, we do pause to recognize people who might be with us for the very first time. We don't like putting people on the spot. That's not our intention. We just want to say a little bit of a special welcome with seconds of applause. If you wouldn't mind raising your hand if you're new with us, we could do that now. I see the hand. Thank you. Just to help orient folks who are brand new or have been here not long, I hope you've spotted an newcomer's information card that's there in the back of the chair in front of you. There's also a stay in touch card. If you would like to be on our mailing list, we can put your name, your email address there. It only means a couple of emails a month. We don't hound you. We don't share that information with anyone. Also, there is a DVD right to the left of the sanctuary doors as you exit that shows you a little bit of the kind of activities that go on here at Unity in Lynnwood. It seems as if we always have quite a few fun things going on, and Christmas season is certainly no exception. So as I share announcements, I'll also mention the reminder to just swing by the welcome and information station and see what we have there in the way of sign-up sheets, postcards announcing upcoming events, and so forth. Today's flowers are dedicated by Judy Shermack in belated celebration of Howard Shermack's birthday, and they were here for service, so we got to say happy birthday, Howard, then. If you would like to make a flower dedication, you may do so by stopping into the gift shop. The suggested offering is just $10. Please join Bishop Kathy Chalmers on December 22nd at 5:30 p.m. for her original Mass that is familiar in form and very compatible with unity in principles and content. This will be Bishop Kathy's last Mass before her 2019 hiatus. Can you believe it's going to be 2019? Whoa. The Edgar Casey Search for God study group will take the last Mondays of December off for the holidays, and then will resume on Monday, January 7th at 7 p.m. We extend our welcome to all newcomers. No prior knowledge is needed. And I see 3 people that perhaps would answer questions if you had some and you wanted to try it out. Tom and Fran Curley and Jennifer Lovejoy spearhead that group, and I've heard wonderful things about it. We have a party coming up. It's all hands on deck party, Saturday, December 29th, 9 a.m. It's called our Undecorating Party. So please feel free to drop by. There will be delicious snacks, uplifting music, and we will put our beautiful Christmas things away. They are beautiful. They are so beautiful. And finally, if you love to read, actually it's not finally, but if you love to read, starting in January, this is a great opportunity. 5 individuals will be selected to read and read 1 title each and submit a 100-word review suitable for print in February. The reward, you will get to keep the book. The selection list and the registration will be available starting next Sunday. This is a little program sponsored by our bookstore, gift shop. Isn't that great? Do you know, speaking of books, that we have a lending library? Feel free to peruse the bookshelves located in Dr. Richard's office. No sign out is necessary. And I just want to throw out a reminder, especially in a busy holiday season, please consider giving the gift of parking to a guest by arriving early and parking at the south end of the Fred Meyer parking lot for door-to-door service. And thank you, Len, for heading up that shuttle van driver service. It's wonderful. All good things happening at Unity in Lynnwood can be found on your printed program or by visiting our Facebook page or visiting unityinlynnwood.org, our webpage. Please stand and we'll share our peace song together.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. Take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin.
Woo! If you are joining us by social media, we welcome you this morning. We stand with you. We know the highest possible noble truth of you and for you. Turn around and look at these people and say, we stand with you today. Now turn to someone else and say, I see the light in you this morning. Somebody else and say, I see the highest truth of you this morning. And yet again, say, and yet again. I'm here to help you let it out. Take a deep breath with me. If there's a first name of any soul you would like to drop into this consciousness of love and support, just speak that name now. So we hold all of these people in our energetic circle, and we do not tarry in the shallow waters of limitation and partiality, but rather we stand firmly in the deeper waters of all that we know God to be. We stand firmly in the deeper waters of wisdom, ample to any confusion, the deeper waters of love, ample to any disharmony, the deeper waters of sufficiency, ample to any experience of lack, and always, always we stand in life. We stand in life, unopposed, unopposable, eternal, and unconcerned. This is where we stand. And so we lift our voices together then in great faith and boldness and speak these closing words of benediction. There is one power and one presence in, through, and around all creation. So we go forth as the eyes of divine love, as the tongues of divine wisdom, as the hands of divine sufficiency, and the bold and ready hearts of divine life. Blessings on your week, Unity in Lynnwood.